thank you all for having this event, particularly on a day when the New York Times helped contribute to this event by publishing a story about a potential challenger to Mayor Bill de Blasio in the form of Representative Hakeem Jeffries of Brooklyn. The story, which is something I think we've all touched upon in our reporting, is about the idea that Mayor Bill de Blasio, after the 2013 election, hasn't lived up to his promises that people have had about him in terms of criminal justice. The story today, the big revelation I think it was that Bill Thompson, one of the main candidates in the 2013 race, was encouraging Hakeem Jeffries to look at running against de Blasio in 2017. And there was even an anecdote that Al Sharpton spoke to Hakeem about this potential issue. So thank you for having this such well-timed event. Defining progressivism in the area of criminal justice, it's probably one of the fastest moving and most dynamic conversations that people in public policy are having. Several years ago, what it meant to be a Democrat and what it meant to be progressive in the area of gay rights rapidly changed. The floor became the ceiling. Gay marriage became a litmus test and not simply, a high bar to reach for. And now it's sort of taken for granted that you almost can't be in the party unless you're fully supportive of not just gay rights, but a host of other issues that were almost unimaginable a short time ago. In the area of criminal justice, you're sort of seeing a very similar movement. There's the Black Lives Matter movement. There are people who have been involved before that, trying to reform prisons, which leads into a conversation of reforming police activities. Now you have a conversation about body cameras and access to body cameras. And all of these are complicated. They are very technical. They involve very passionate conversations about race and class and what role municipal government plays in people's lives. And that conversation is happening very swiftly, and it's part of what helped propel Bill de Blasio into office. In 2013, his one campaign ad was featuring his son with a very big afro, and his son said, my dad's gonna end the stop and frisk era. A lot of the conversation in 2013 was about stop and frisk, police stopping someone on the street, questioning them, and even patting them down. The numbers of stop and frisks had risen dramatically under Michael Bloomberg and Ray Kelly, peaked in 2011, and then something amazing happened that virtually went unreported. Those numbers started to decline from about 680,000 to roughly around 500,000, and steadily since then. But what was interesting was Michael Bloomberg and Ray Kelly did not have an incentive to acknowledge that decline. So as you had the 2013 campaign election approaching, you had more activists raising their voices about stop and frisk as it was starting to come down, but not widely acknowledged to come down. That issue became something that people could focus on, something that Bill de Blasio attached himself to, and it became the perhaps only real conversation that people had about criminal justice in 2013. There was some talk about the Inspector General, there was some talk about other issues. Very late in the primary season, there was talk about broken windows, but it was primarily about stop and frisk. When Bill de Blasio came into office in 2014, one of the major announcements that his police commissioner made was in January, was that the problem with stop and frisk is over. He announces the victory even before it actually happens, but the number of stop and frisks declined even more dramatically. Crime stays low, and 2014 is a record year in terms of safety. De Blasio pretty much had that issue. He had addressed criticisms that crime is going to spike when he first gets in. But what's happening now is the city council and activists are saying there's other things that need to happen that you're not doing. Questions about how much, what kind of documentation do officers need to give to a person they stop but don't arrest? Do police officers have a right to see body camera footage before talking to an investigator that's investigating a potential abuse? These and other issues, the city council is putting forward a bunch of reforms, and the mayor and his police commissioner have uniformly opposed each and every one of those measures. They're 0 for 9. And what some lawmakers and progressives are saying is the complaint that the mayor and Bill Bratton are not only opposing the legislation, they're opposing the goals within those legislations and are not even saying how we're going to get there. One of the bills is a bill to criminally ban police chokeholds. Currently, a police officer under state law in certain circumstances can legally put someone in what is called a quote-unquote chokehold. Under the NYPD patrol guidelines, that actual maneuver is prohibited, but the patrol guidelines are not penal law. There is a bill in the city council to say, you know what, that maneuver would be illegal. Bill Bratton opposes it, Bill de Blasio opposes it, Hakeem Jeffries supports it. So that's just a brief overview of some of the technical layouts of the conversation about progressivism and de Blasio in terms of criminal justice, and I'm sure there'll be much more to say about that going forward.